Hello and welcome to another Q&A with Mr. Casual, Charlie DeChant, the saxophone and keyboard player for Daryl, Hall, and John Oates since 1976. I'm Michael Laderman. He's Charlie DeChant. We got a great list of questions to run down, so let's get right to it. Who are some of your mentors that you've had while playing the saxophone throughout your entire career? And really, you might need to start that question out from back when you were first learning, back in middle school, high school, and even the early college days.
Okay, saxophone. Okay, it's like my mom and I took piano lessons when I was 5. You know, we had a piano teacher. I don't remember anything about that. The only thing I can remember about piano lessons was, you know, that you have that the stool that when you turn around on it, it goes up. Then you turn around the other way and it goes down. I like to do that. But as far as mentors on the saxophone, I had a private teacher when I first started. I was playing in the school band. That's the first thing that I did. And don't remember his name. I don't know if I call him a mentor, but he was a teacher. Then later on in high school, I took lessons from Charlie Frazier, who was he had played in the Tommy Dorsey band. You know, he was in that was his claim to fame. And he would move to Clearwater, and he was a teacher. And actually, his son was a sax player, played in the same band with me. He was first chair, of course. Yeah, Charlie Frazier he was a good teacher. I enjoyed that. And also when I went to Berkeley for a short period of time, Berkeley and Boston School of Music, I took private lessons from Joe Viola, who really helped me out a lot. And also there was a French Canadian tenor sax player that played in the band opposite me when I played up at the Brasserie in North Miami, and he showed me a lot of those high fingerings, the fingerings above, like the saxophone is only written up to a high F above the staff, but he showed me that like another octave above that, how to do the fingerings for that, and that was very helpful too.
Now, you don't play just the saxophone, and the Hall & Oates fans know that you play saxophone and keyboard, but you play plenty more than just even those two instruments. What do you play, and when did you learn them?
Flute. I played flute I actually took some flute lessons in high school. You know, like I think Charlie Frazier probably helped me out with that, like when I first started playing flute. And so I played like a bunch of different varieties of flutes: alto flute, bass flute, piccolo, a little bit of piccolo, a whole bunch of ethnic flutes that I have a big collection of. Guitar, I started playing guitar when was that? I think when I started going to college, I started playing a bit of guitar. I noticed that there was 2 other sax players in the Catalinas that after I left for college, the Catalinas continued on. They both, like when I went back after, you know, on my break from school, both of those sax players were then playing guitars. You know, they were doing kink songs and that kind of stuff. And I really never got into the electric guitar so much. I was playing acoustic guitar, playing at the what we called the Beaux Arts coffee house in Pinellas Park, close to Clearwater. Yeah, I was learning how to play guitar in those days. I had some mentors on that. And what else? Keyboards. I played keyboards like right along. You know, piano. Anytime I could get next to a piano, I would have to play some chords on it. And the guitar and the piano are mostly for me for writing songs, but I play keyboards with Hall & Oates too. You know, so.
Let's talk about your time right now in Orlando, Florida. You've been in Central Florida since the 90s now.
92.
But you're a guy who, I mean, and you lived in Clearwater, but you're a guy who is from the Northeast. You lived in Pennsylvania. You lived a lot of time New York in the Long Island area. So talk about the differences of those areas, and do you miss New York? Do you miss Long Island?
I kind of miss the New York thing. Like I subscribe digitally to the New Yorker and the New York Times, and so I keep up with all that. I don't miss the commute, but the commute down here is pretty crazy too. So when I was in New York, I did I had got a job for the last couple of years I was there. I worked at ASCAP, which is the American Society of Composers and Publishers, authors, composers, and publishers. So, but I did I basically listened to hours and hours of radio play and identified songs, and then I got a job actually transcribing, writing the music out on little file cards. But it was an interesting job, and it was a good. It was like right across the office was right across from Lincoln Center, and I got a chance to on lunch breaks to see concerts sometimes. It was interesting. Yeah.
And that was during the time that Hall & Oates had stopped touring. That was in the mid to late 80s, correct?
It was the late 80s that I worked there for just about, I think, 2 years, up until I got somehow or another I got back with Hall & Oates. I was not touring with them between 86 and 90, and then in 90 I got back with them.
What part of Long Island were you living on?
We lived in Center Reach, which is, as the name implies, it's right in the center of the island. It's in Suffolk County. It's Long Island is long, and but it's not very tall. So it's kind of south of Stony Brook. That's where the town was, and we lived there for 10 years. Really, it was our first house. We bought our house there. We had lived in Queens previously.
You're a Florida boy now.
I have always pretty much been a Florida boy, even when I was in Long Island. I don't have anything like a Long Island accent. Sort of, what would you call it, mid-Atlantic or whatever. Probably I'm closer to a Pennsylvania accent than a Florida or a New York kind of thing. Because I grew up in Pennsylvania until I was about 7. My sister and I went back there for to visit the family, and we went to our old hometown, and then we well, let's look for our old house, and we what, is that it? We couldn't be sure,
Up until approximately 2015, you used the same saxophone. Then you got a new one. Why did you decide to get a new one?
Okay. Let's see. This is kind of a long story, but I used to have to put my tenor, which it's a Mark 6 tenor that much like the original tenor that was stolen from me in about 1992, or something like that. Mark 6 that I got for my birthday when I was 16. My parents gave it to me, great horn, and it's the in-demand, pretty much the in-demand horn for jazz players, especially a Mark 6, about a 1960, 59, 60. So I played that for years, and then it was stolen. But I had a spare sax, which had belonged to Sheila's dad, my father-in-law. After he died, left me the sax, which was also a Mark 6. So it had been my spare sax for years, and then it suddenly became my only sax. So I have played on that since, I got to say, 1990, maybe 2 or so. So I would have to put that in a pretty heavy, heavily padded flight case to carry out whenever we toured. So basically, I would carry it to the first hotel that we stayed in, and then it would go on the truck for the rest of the tour. But kind of a pain to be carrying that big box around with me. Actually, there's two boxes, two saxes, soprano sax and flute as well. So I'm lugging everything around on a cart, whatever. What happened was we were playing one day at the White House. We had a show for I think it was the governor's ball at the White House. So we got to meet Obama and Biden actually. So we played for them. But like going there, I'd had my flight case with me with the sax in it and all that. And it turned out that we couldn't get all the way to the green room, which is where we were playing, because there's those things that pop up on the ground, like bars that keep cars from driving in to get close. Well, they couldn't retract those things, so we had to get out of the van that we were in and walk all the way. And I'm carrying my case. And John says, "Charlie, you shouldn't have to do that." I said, "We'll get you a new sax, okay?" But I knew I wasn't going to be able to get a Mark VI because they're very expensive now. I ended up getting, because we had a deal with Yamaha, I got a Custom Z from Yamaha, which is a really nice horn. I still, I've got to say I prefer my Mark VI, but it's much more convenient for me to play the Yamaha. And I got to say, it's still a good horn. I ended up getting a Yamaha soprano as well.
Why have you stayed with Hall Oates for as long as you have?
One of the things that I say that the reason that I've stayed with him is because of the songs, really. If you're going to be playing a song for 40 plus years, it would be great if you're not sick of it, and I'm saying that, like, all those hits that we've been playing for 40 plus years, I'm still not sick of them. It's crazy. They're good songs. They can go through a couple of different arrangements, whatever. Sometimes they'll change, and that's fine. But yeah, that's actually the main thing.
Now, where you are getting older, their words.
Are we all?
Is touring still as exciting as it maybe once was?
As exciting. Well, I was really excited when I first started touring. I'm maybe not quite as excited as I was when it was like brand new, but I still enjoy it.
What is difficult about touring with Daryl and John and the band?
The most difficult part for me is that whatever initial flight that I have to take, having to go through all the security and the tension of, like, did I get there early enough? Did I bring everything that I'm supposed to bring? What did I forget this time? That kind of stuff. And like, is my luggage going to get lost? That kind of stuff. Once I get there, pretty much when we get on the bus is like home. We generally leave. The band does anyhow. Daryl and John don't travel on the bus with the band anymore. They used to back in the 80s, the 70s and 80s. They were on the bus as well. But we have a very comfortable bus with sleepers, and much better than having to get up early and get on a plane, go through all the security and that stuff. I'd rather take a long bus ride than have to deal with that. I'll have all my stuff with me, Yeah. So that's really it, basically. Like the whole security thing since 9/11 has gotten crazy, as everybody knows.
Somebody had asked about your hair and to tell the story about why you have chosen to grow it. Talk about what people know and love about it, and when you actually started growing it, and why no one's ever going to touch it again.
Okay. The hair issue. Okay. So in the 60s, I started growing my hair long, right? Okay. Which everybody did. And then I just kind of stuck with it up until maybe I had been with Hall Oates for a few years, and we, the late 70s, where the punk rock thing was happening, and the skinny tie deal where everybody had short haircuts. Oh, you got to cut your hair. Okay, fine, I'll cut my hair. And so I did that for a while, and then I gradually started growing it back again. And I've kept up with it through the years.
So on the majority of music videos that anybody could see and watch from, say, 79 through 84, your hair is nowhere near what it is today. It was actually pretty short in those.
Yeah, sure it was. You see on No Can Do and on Man Eater and all that. Yeah, everybody had short hair then. So I went along with it.
Reluctantly?
Yeah, reluctantly, but yeah, it's not a big deal. It usually grows back. Maybe not on top so much anymore. But
So how long is it today? Are you able to show it?
Well, hang on. I got a big bun in back. That's my ponytail here. Yeah, it's pretty long. Yeah, down the middle of my back, kind of thing.
Charlie, thanks so much for the time again. He's Charlie DeChant. I'm Michael Laderman. We'll be doing this yet again sometime in the next week, so stay tuned to your Facebook page. We'll be coming right back at you with more Q&A with Mr. Casual, Charlie DeChant.